Commander Sarah Chen stood motionless in the observation deck of Lunar Base Alpha, her eyes fixed on the holographic display that stretched across the curved window. To any visitor, it would appear she was simply watching Earth rotate peacefully below. In reality, she was monitoring something far more significant: the quantum resonance signatures of humanity's greatest secret. 3 kilometers beneath the lunar surface, protected by layers of regolith and experimental quantum shielding, lay the TUS Artemis. While the world's governments publicly squabbled over conventional space programs and orbital defense platforms, a select group of scientists and military personnel had spent the last 15 years developing something unprecedented: a warship that could manipulate the fundamental forces of reality itself. "Commander," Lieutenant James Rodriguez's voice broke through her thoughts. "We're detecting anomalous readings at the edge of the Kuiper Belt." Sarah's fingers danced across the holographic interface, bringing up the deep space sensor data. The quantum detection grid they'd secretly installed throughout the solar system was picking up something massive. And it wasn't natural. "Analysis?" she asked, though she already suspected the answer. "Multiple objects, Commander. Based on their quantum wake signatures, we're looking at approximately 3,000 vessels, each roughly the size of Manhattan." Rodriguez's voice remained steady, but Sarah could hear the underlying tension. "They're running dark by conventional standards, but their quantum signatures are impossible to hide from our new sensors." Sarah allowed herself a grim smile. The Artemis project had been born from a simple truth: humanity couldn't match potential alien threats with conventional technology. Instead, they'd had to think differently. While other nations focused on building bigger ships and more powerful weapons, her team had delved into the very fabric of reality itself. "Alert Command. Initiate Protocol Prometheus," she ordered, her voice echoing through the command center. Around her, the elite crew, each handpicked and trained in absolute secrecy, began their carefully rehearsed procedures. Deep beneath the lunar surface, the Artemis stirred to life. The ship itself defied conventional description. Its quantum crystalline hull could shift between states of matter. Its advanced AI could calculate probability waves across multiple dimensions, and its weapons didn't just destroy. They rewrote localized physics itself. "Commander," a new voice called out, Dr. Emily Patel, their lead quantum physicist. "You need to see this analysis of the alien fleet." The holographic display shifted, showing complex mathematical models of the approaching vessels. "They're using some form of gravitational manipulation for propulsion," Emily explained, her fingers tracing patterns in the air. "Advanced, but fundamentally predictable. They clearly don't understand the deeper principles of quantum mechanics the way we do." Sarah nodded. This confirmed their theories. Most spacefaring races developed along predictable technological paths: mastering gravity, achieving fusion, developing energy shields. But humanity, forced to think creatively by its limitations, had stumbled upon something far more fundamental: the ability to manipulate quantum probability itself. "How long until they're within conventional detection range?" Sarah asked. "Approximately 72 hours, Rodriguez answered. "But they'll likely decelerate once they reach Saturn's orbit. Standard invasion protocol would be to establish a staging area there." Sarah straightened her uniform. "Then we have 3 days to prepare humanity's first and last line of defense." She turned to address the command center. "I know we've trained for this, but I want to be clear about what's at stake. Those ships out there, they're expecting to find a primitive species barely able to reach its own moon. Instead, they're going to encounter something they couldn't possibly have prepared for." The crew nodded solemnly. They'd all sacrificed years of their lives for this moment, working in secret, unable to tell even their families what they were really doing on the moon. "Dr. Patel, begin quantum core initialization. Lieutenant Rodriguez, coordinate with Lunar Defense to maintain our cover story. As far as the public knows, we're just a research station." Sarah turned back to the holographic display, watching the approaching quantum signatures. "The rest of you, to your stations. In 3 days, we either prove that humanity deserves its place among the stars, or we become another failed experiment in the cosmic laboratory." As her crew moved with practiced efficiency, Sarah allowed herself a moment of reflection. The Artemis represented humanity's greatest achievement, not just technologically, but philosophically. They hadn't tried to match alien technology, they'd transcended it entirely. Whether that would be enough to save Earth remained to be seen. But one thing was certain: the approaching alien fleet had no idea what they were about to face. First contact occurred 48 hours earlier than expected. The alien fleet dropped out of their faster-than-light travel near Jupiter's orbit, their massive ships casting long shadows across the gas giant's storms. They made no attempt to hide their arrival, broadcasting their message across every frequency. The holographic image materialized in the Artemis command center, a towering figure with iridescent scales and multiple compound eyes arranged in a spiral pattern. When it spoke, its words were precise, calculated, and devoid of emotion. "We are the Nexarian Collective. Your solar system lies within our projected expansion zone. We have monitored your civilization's development and determined you are insufficient for integration. Surrender your resources, and we will ensure your species' preservation in our biological archives." Commander Chen watched the message replay, studying every detail. Behind her, Dr. Patel was already analyzing the quantum signatures of their transmission technology. "Interesting," Emily muttered. "They're using quantum entanglement for communication, but in the most inefficient way possible. It's like watching someone use a quantum computer to run a calculator app." "Can we track their command structure?" Sarah asked, her mind already formulating strategies. Lieutenant Rodriguez nodded. "Their quantum signatures are hierarchical. That big bastard near Europa. As to be their flagship, the energy patterns suggest they're running everything through a centralized control system." Sarah allowed herself a small smile. Centralized control was efficient but vulnerable, especially to what they had planned. "Begin Phase 1, she ordered. "Let's show them how insufficient we really are." The Artemis's quantum core hummed to life, its crystalline structure pulsing with possibilities. Unlike conventional ships that had to choose a single state of existence, the Artemis could exist in multiple quantum states simultaneously. To the Nexarian sensors, it would appear to be everywhere and nowhere at once. "Multiple contacts," Rodriguez called out. "They're launching scout ships toward Earth. Estimated time to weapons range: 30 minutes. Sarah straightened in her command chair. "Deploy quantum mirrors. Let's give them something to chase." The Artemis's defensive systems activated, creating quantum reflections of Earth's primitive defense satellites and ships. To the Nexarian scouts, it would appear that humanity was scrambling a pathetically outdated fleet to defend itself. "Quantum core at full capacity," Emily reported. "Ready to execute on your command." Sarah took a deep breath. Everything they'd worked for came down to this moment. Initialize the probability cascade. The Artemis shifted, its hull becoming a perfect quantum uncertainty. Laws of physics began to bend around it as the ship existed in thousands of potential states simultaneously. To an outside observer, reality itself seemed to ripple. The Nexarian scouts detected the disturbance too late. As they moved to investigate, the Artemis resolved into a single devastating state: quantum torpedoes, weapons that didn't just destroy their targets, but retroactively ensured they could never have existed in the first place, launched in perfect sequence. 3 Nexarian scouts vanished, not with dramatic explosions, but with quiet pops of quantum probability collapsing. The remaining scouts' sensors went haywire as they tried to process what had happened. Their quantum communication systems, designed for simple information transfer, were overwhelmed by the impossible data. The alien flagship responded immediately, launching a full battle fleet. But Sarah had anticipated this. "Execute Phase 2, she commanded. "Show them what happens when you threaten Earth." The Artemis's quantum core pulsed again, this time creating a cascading series of probability waves. The battle space became a quantum chess game, with the Artemis manipulating reality itself, while the Nexarians tried to fight with conventional weapons. "They're adapting," Rodriguez warned, detecting changes in their shield frequencies. "Let them adapt," Sarah replied. "Every change they make tells us more about their technology." She turned to Emily. "How long until we can crack their quantum communication network?" "Already done," Emily said with a grin. "Their encryption is based on simple quantum entanglement. Compared to our quantum probability matrices, it might as well be written in crayon." The battle continued to unfold across Jupiter's orbit, a dance of impossible physics and conventional warfare. The Nexarians fought with increasing desperation as their weapons proved useless against a ship that could choose which laws of physics to obey. But Sarah knew they couldn't maintain this level of quantum manipulation indefinitely. Even with their advanced technology, there were limits to how much they could bend reality before it snapped back. They needed to make this victory decisive. "Target their flagship's quantum communication hub," she ordered. "Let's show them the true cost of underestimating humanity." As the Artemis moved into position for its final attack, Sarah couldn't help but feel a touch of pride. Humanity hadn't just developed new weapons or shields. They'd fundamentally changed the rules of warfare itself. The Nexarians were about to learn that sometimes the species you dismiss as primitive might just be the one that transcends your understanding of what's possible. The Nexarian flagship shuddered as its quantum communication hub collapsed. Across their fleet, the carefully coordinated attack patterns dissolved into chaos. But Sarah Chen knew better than to celebrate too early. A cornered enemy was often the most dangerous. "Multiple power signatures." Rodriguez's voice cut through the tension. "They're diverting all energy to their weapon systems. Whatever they're planning, it's big." The holographic display showed the Nexarian fleet reforming into a new pattern, one that defied conventional military tactics. Their ships began to rotate in complex geometric formations, creating overlapping fields of gravitational distortion. Dr. Patel's eyes widened as she analyzed the data. "Commander, they're trying to create artificial singularity. If they succeed, they could tear apart the fabric of space-time itself. They'd rather destroy this entire sector than admit defeat." Sarah's jaw tightened. This was the moment that would define not just the battle, but humanity's place in the cosmos. "Deploy quantum anchors," she ordered. "Full spectrum." The Artemis quantum core pulsed with renewed energy as it released dozens of specialized probes. Each one carried a fraction of the ship's reality warping technology, designed to stabilize local space-time against exactly this kind of attack. "Message incoming," Rodriguez reported. "They're broadcasting on all frequencies." The alien commander's image appeared again, but this time its composed demeanor had cracked. "Your interference is impossible. No species at your development level could possess such technology. Reveal your true nature or watch your solar system collapse into nothingness." Sarah stood from her command chair, facing the holographic projection. "We are exactly what we appear to be, humans, defending our home. The impossible is our specialty. Stand down or witness just how impossible we can be." The alien's spiral eyes contracted in what might have been rage or fear. The singularity continued to form, a dark spot in space that began to bend light itself. "Quantum core at critical threshold," Emily warned. "If we're going to act, it needs to be now." Sarah nodded. "Initialize the Heisenberg protocol." The Artemis's hull began to shimmer as it entered a state of quantum superposition. Instead of fighting against the singularity, they would use its own gravitational force against it. The ship split into countless quantum reflections, each one existing in a slightly different probability state. "What you're seeing," Sarah transmitted to the Nexarian fleet, "is humanity's understanding of the universe. We didn't try to master space and time. We learned to dance with them." The quantum anchors activated in sequence, each one creating a bubble of stabilized space-time. The singularity's pull began to weaken as reality itself rebelled against its existence. The Artemis's quantum reflections moved in perfect synchronization, their combined effect creating a cascade of probability waves that interfered with the Nexarians' careful calculations. Their formation is breaking down, Rodriguez reported. The gravitational field is collapsing. Sarah watched as the dark spot in space began to shrink. Target their remaining ships with quantum torpedoes. Minimal yield. We want to disable, not destroy. The weapons launched, each one carrying a carefully calibrated quantum charge. Where they struck, Nexarian ships didn't explode or break apart. They simply found themselves existing in a state where their weapons and engines couldn't function. "Commander," Emily called out, her voice tight with urgency. "The quantum core is showing signs of strain. We can't maintain this level of reality manipulation much longer." Sarah studied the tactical display. Most of the Nexarian fleet was now dead in space, their advanced technology rendered useless by humanity's deeper understanding of quantum mechanics. Only the flagship remained fully operational, its massive hull still crackling with energy. "Open a channel to their commander," Sarah ordered. "Let's end this before we all discover the hard way what happens when you push quantum probability too far." The alien's image appeared once more, its compound eyes now focused with an intensity that suggested both fear and fascination. Sarah spoke before it could. "Your fleet is disabled. Your singularity has failed. You have one chance to retreat with your ships and crew intact. We will not offer terms again." The silence that followed seemed to stretch for eternity. Finally, the alien commander spoke, its translated voice carrying a new tone. One of respect tinged with uncertainty. "You have done what we thought impossible. Perhaps we were wrong about humanity's potential." As the Nexarian flagship began to power down its weapons, Sarah allowed herself to breathe normally for the first time in hours. They had won not through brute force or superior numbers, but by understanding the universe in ways their enemies couldn't imagine. The quantum dance was ending, and humanity had led. Victory had come at a cost. The Artemis quantum core pulsed erratically, its crystalline structure showing microscopic fractures from the strain of maintaining multiple quantum states. In the command center, emergency lights cast everything in a deep red glow. "Core stability at 37% and falling," Emily reported, her fingers dancing across holographic displays as she tried to compensate. "The quantum matrices are beginning to decohere. We pushed them too far during the singularity containment." Commander Chen watched as the disabled Nexarian fleet hung motionless against the backdrop of Jupiter. Their flagship had maintained its word so far, powering down weapons and maintaining position. But something felt wrong. "Commander," Rodriguez called out, his voice sharp with concern. "I'm detecting quantum fluctuations from the Nexarian ships. They're changing." The tactical display showed it clearly. The disabled ships were beginning to pulse with new energy signatures, their hulls shifting and reforming. Sarah's blood ran cold as she realized what they were seeing. "They're adapting," Emily whispered. "They're learning from our quantum technology, incorporating it into their own systems." The quantum torpedoes didn't just disable their ships. They provided a template. Sarah's mind raced. The Nexarians were renowned for their adaptive capabilities, but this was unprecedented. They weren't just copying the technology. They were evolving it in real time. "Full power to defensive systems," Sarah ordered. "Initiate emergency core stabilization protocols." But it was too late. The first Nexarian ship reactivated, its hull now shimmering with the same quantum uncertainty as the Artemis. Others followed, each one awakening with enhanced capabilities. "Their commander is hailing us," Rodriguez reported. The alien's image appeared, its spiral eyes now pulsing with an inner light that hadn't been there before. "Your quantum technology is remarkable, humans. We have never encountered anything like it. But you made one critical mistake. You showed us what was possible." The Nexarian ships began to move in formation again, but this time their movements bent reality in ways that even the Artemis's sensors struggled to track. They weren't just using quantum mechanics. They were rewriting them. "Core stability at 22%, Emily shouted over the growing sound of stressed systems. "We can't match them like this." The core will collapse. Sarah gripped her command chair as reality itself seemed to fluctuate around them. Everything they'd counted on, their technological advantage, their understanding of quantum mechanics, their element of surprise, was slipping away. But then she saw it. Something in the way the Nexarian ships moved, a pattern in their quantum signatures. "They don't understand," she said softly. Then louder, "They don't understand. Dr. Patel, analyze their quantum fields. They're replicating our technology, but are they accounting for probability collapse?" Emily's eyes widened as she studied the data. No, they're not. They're forcing quantum states instead of working with them. It's powerful, but unstable. Like trying to force a river to flow upstream. Sarah said, "Rodriguez, power to engines. Take us straight through their formation." "Commander, that's suicide." Rodriguez protested. "Their combined quantum fields would tear us apart." "No," Sarah said firmly. "Their fields will tear themselves apart. Sometimes the best way to win isn't to be stronger. It's to understand your own weaknesses." The Artemis surged forward, its damaged quantum core humming with its last reserves of power. As they approached the Nexarian formation, reality began to twist and bend around them. Warning alarms blared throughout the ship as systems approached critical failure. "Core stability at 15%, Emily called out. 12. 10. But Sarah kept her eyes fixed on the tactical display, watching as the Nexarian ship's quantum fields began to interact with each other in increasingly chaotic ways. Their copy technology was powerful but fundamentally flawed, lacking the subtle understanding that had taken humanity years to develop. "All power to shields," Sarah commanded. "Brace for quantum cascade." The space around them erupted in a display that defied description as the Nexarians' quantum fields collapsed in on themselves. Ships blinked in and out of existence as probability waves crashed together, their forced manipulation of reality backfiring spectacularly. When the quantum storm cleared, the Nexarian fleet hung motionless once again. But this time, their ships were truly dead, their copy technology having torn itself apart from within. "Core stabilizing at 8%, Emily reported wearily. "We've got maybe enough power for emergency quantum slip back to lunar base." Sarah nodded, finally allowing herself to relax slightly. "Sometimes the best defense isn't about having the most advanced technology," she mused. "It's about truly understanding what you have." The Artemis limped back toward Earth, leaving behind a graveyard of ships that had learned too late. Some powers can't be stolen or copied. They must be earned through patience, understanding, and respect for the fundamental laws of the universe. Even in victory, Sarah knew this was just the beginning. The galaxy now knew humanity's capabilities, and the Nexarians wouldn't be the last to challenge them. But they had proven something important, not just about their technology, but about humanity itself. They had proven that true power comes not from forcing the universe to bend to your will, but from learning to dance with it.